Hello and welcome back to another top-level game of Beyond All Reason. Today we're going to be taking a look at Coom Valley, brought to you by a whole bunch of pros, as you can see over on the right-hand side here. 45 true skill for our blue team leader, spawning on the eastern side, fellow content creator, fan of Beyond All Reason alike. It's Lost Dead Man. Gonna be going with the triple mechs into a double solar here. Oh, never mind. Well, okay. Thinking about it. We'll tune back in. Over on the other side of the map, representing the red team, spawning on the western side and as an Armada commander. Got the wrong paint job for the duty that he's serving today, but still going to be presenting that bright fire truck red. It's going to be GG Gaming. Going for that double solar panel start as well here on Coom Valley. I guess it makes sense. Coom Valley wind, not anything to write home about. 10 at a maximum, 5 at a minimum. It's consistent, I'll give you that, but as an Armada commander, well, rather as a Cortex commander, your minimum is never going to be efficient, and as an Armada commander, it's just barely efficient. Let me hover over that for a second so you can read there. It is better to build with solar collectors when average wind speed is below 5 for Armada or 6 for Cortex. That's why we might see some Armada wind turbines, but the Cortex probably going to skip out on those and prefer solar panels. Lost Dead Man already going into an air transition here. Wonder what we're going to do with it. Usually it means a transport for this hill over here. Could go for the northern one as well, but based on the location that he's at with the air here, I wouldn't be surprised if the transport is, oh, okay, he's handed it over here. So instead, Hotshot GG is going to be transported forward. I quite like that. Getting your commander down to the low ground here, setting up a defensive line and denying your enemy in this choke point here, it's going to be quite valuable. Obviously, fighting out into this big area is going to be a lot nicer than having to fight through the cramped little choke right here. Could also transport to the top of this mountain. Not a bad idea either for our powder blue commander here. Got the construction bot out, so that's quite nice, and I think that's pretty much all we need as a start here. Gonna start up some build power, so at least in a minute or so, we'll have enough build power to continue base expansion. Commander is moving on into the low ground. X Factor Live already has a commander, though, and he's setting it up down here. Oh, he's going for the anti-air. Oh, he's got the anti-air. Oh, okay, Hotshot GG set the commander down. Don't know if he spied it or if he just had a good instinct about him. X Factor Live almost catching Hotshot GG in a little bit of trouble right there. Over on the other side of the map, we do have some rovers heading on overs, trying to get a little bit of damage done. They struggle going up these hills here, and it makes laser towers particularly good against them. If you put the laser towers up on the hill right here, they're gonna, at least for the time being, deny one of those metal extractors right here for our hot pink player Flippy Ural, joining the Flip clan apparently. So far, though, not much work has been done. Excellent defense here, basically by both of the teams managing to keep the enemy's units out here. The blue team seems to be a whole lot more aggressive. Big air battle over here as well. WTF resign time. A little bit of collision of ideas here as Amir and Chisato both move forward. You know, it'd be kind of cool is actually if they both move their commander forward here. Whoa, careful there. Commander damn near D-gunned right there. Oh, give calm. He wants, so Chisato wants both the commanders. Okay, this should be interesting. Chisato wants to use both the commanders right here to try and fight off Pyrotech. That's a pretty cool move. Gonna use a spare transport in order to give this back up, or move this back up on here. What a funny duel. Okay, Chisato going for the destruct here. Yeah, Pyrotech realizes too late, or maybe just willing to accept the trade. Both commanders go down, wipes out all those defenses, and now Chisato's second commander, formerly Amir's commander, now Chisato's commander, going to be able to, capture the 2.5 thousand metal now lying in ruin on top of this hill here. What a wacky trade. Yellow commander's done a great job of capturing all this. Now there's a collision over on this side. Lost Dead Man going to be running right up against X Factor Live. This is an excellent place for a commander trade right now. And down they go. Both of those commanders going down right here, and Hotshot GG will be quick to eat up all that metal. So far, I would say that this is two beautiful trades for the red team. Yeah, this is really quite nice. Chisato getting an excellent D-gun right there as well. LOT is going to hold the line, and now tons and tons of metal headed back to the blue team. This is a massive, massive advantage. This could easily transition into a T2 laboratory. It could be a whole bunch of T1 economy. We could see some, just a ridiculous amount of advanced solar panels come up here if we wanted to. Has the yellow player tapped out? X Factor Live has, I guess, handed out the units here, or just still in the game but hasn't done anything, or has forfeited all his stuff over here. This is bizarre. Not sure exactly what happened with this mountain over here. There's also no units down here, which is a little bit odd. Hotshot GG gonna be eating up all that metal, but doesn't have the storage in order to actually keep all of it, so most of it is going back to the team right now. Huh. Not the end of the world by far, but gonna be a little bit interesting. Hotshot GG's lab was shut down. That explains the lack of units here. Completely full on metal and reclaiming right now. I really think we need to start spending the metal rather than just sending it around to the team. I mean, don't get me wrong, all these fellers on the front line are probably gonna be more than happy to accept the generous, bountiful, plentiful amounts of metal flowing back into their economies right now from seemingly nowhere. Pardon my camera angle movement, by the way. Coombe Valley, very difficult to get over these hills and get a view of what's going on back here, so it's always a tricky one. Meanwhile, out in the middle, Justice for Club has done a great job of pushing forward using these blitz tanks and their superior armor against a lot of these pawns. Big old battlefield down here. As you can see, a lot of these pawns right now for MDXD going down. We're getting real close to it. Treating the blitzes back that are injured, that's quite nice. Trying to eat up as much metal off this wreckage field as possible here. It's about time we start working on some advanced solar panels. There's a lot of regular solar panels coming up, but I really think some advanced solar panels wouldn't be the end of the world here. Blitz is getting a huge run by right now. This is really, really nice. Gonna snipe one of the constructors for GG Gaming, shutting down that construction vehicle here and hindering the economic expansion. They missed the metal extractor right there. Oh, he peels one off to go get it again. Nicely done. Oh. Well, he missed it a little bit. This is where that micro becomes difficult, right? Multiple armies that split and reconverge and split again. Trying to get it all under control, very, very difficult. Most of those blitzes did go down here. They were cleaned up. And yeah, that's actually a relatively efficient hold for GG Gaming. Yeah, all said and done, that's mostly just a lot of dead blitzes for 2 dead metal extractors and not a whole lot more. Oh no, this is nice. MDXD's commander gets caught by a bunch of these blitzes right now, meaning that Justice for Club no longer has to worry about that on the front line. No D-guns is going to be available, but he does have to recuperate his losses. He did just lose basically his entire army, hiding all of his units right here. He's going to D-gun the wreckage. I think that's probably a good idea. Oh, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Don't want to lose your own commander here. Constructor was sent forward, didn't realize that it got D-gunned over here. Nice D-guns. Nice D-guns right there. That's the entire army right there for the brown player, going to be out of the way for our green hero. Pushing right through the map here. Janice trying desperately to blast away at all these, and it'll be able to if we stream these blitzes in one by one. But if we overextend right here, it's going to be a metal advantage for the red players. Okay, Janice finally jumped on by the blitzes here. Janice is focusing on the commander, so it's not thinking about itself. Oh, this commander's getting real low, though. Uh-oh. I don't think we've done enough. The blitz is getting into the backline right now. Big old collision over here as well. A bunch of artillery pieces colliding with a bunch of static defense over on the southern side. There's also whistlers firing away, trying to melt any of these vehicles over here. Janice is going to fire at each other. It's a bit of a funky matchup. Everything dies. It looks like the blitzes were basically cleaned up. Shuriken came out to help. And eventually all is well for the brown commander, except he has no units. Not a few units, not low units, no units whatsoever. GG Gaming in a little bit of a tricky situation. D-gun does connect with the laboratory right there. Oh, that starts to hurt. GG Gaming going to be forced to pull back onto the backline. Started up a whole bunch of those advanced solar panels. Still has tons of metal in the bank. Maybe we need to see some construction happening here. We do have a Twitcher, so maybe we could see the Twitcher building a little bit of building power and going for a whole bunch of those fiends. But as it stands right now, this is a rough situation for the red team. Moy 101 trying to fend off this army here. And Janus missile went way farther than they ever were supposed to. If only you could manually control them to do that, right? The Janus doesn't even know its true potential. How unfortunate. Construction turrets up here are doing a phenomenal job of keeping everything well healthy. Shell shockers and missile trucks and all that sort of stuff not going to have any effect against these lightning turrets when they're in their little encapsulated form. They're very, very tricky to kill when they're in their little tucked in form like that. Little spy tower here to give a little bit more vision. Commander being repaired right here. Man, this is a sturdy defense. One of these lightning towers, you can see how much harassment this thing is taking. 1 or 2% shaved off it, and those construction turrets just put it right back. Yikes. That is brutal to deal with. Now, a T2 Sheldon has been popped up on the northern side. Where did that Sheldon even come from? Maybe it was handed over here from the backline, from Row. Either way, single Sheldon over on this line right here. This is a... yeah, as the other commentators have pointed out, This cannot shoot. I mean, I suppose it could shoot out into the middle of the map, right? It could probably hit the red base over here, but it's definitely not going to be able to fire into the tan player's base pyrotech. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit odd. Commander went down over in the southern section here, but it looks like it was basically entirely eaten up by Hotshot GG, who is now going into a T2 lab. Starting to get low on metal, so wouldn't mind seeing those T1 solar panels being eaten up. I think he's... Yep, there it is. Very nicely done. Gonna eat those up with that constructor that he's got, or that array of constructors that he's got. TX-55 with a brilliant hold right here. These lightning turrets have done tremendous amounts of work. Not only every time they fire, but also with the chain react that happens. They, yeah, you can see right there, melting away not just the unit in front, but also every unit behind it. This has got to be so infuriating here for this player, wondering how on earth he's firing at so many of these different structures and they're just not dying. Even against T2, they're really still holding on. My goodness. That is wild. What you need to do is send a couple of sacrificial units forward. You need to send a couple of tanks or something forward that these can fire at, because once they pop up, they lose that armor bonus, and then you can really start to mess with them. So broken. Now the Persecutor is up, and it's going to start firing away, and man, good effect on that. Look at how many of these units are scuffed up and close to death here. Oh, that's an excellent hit right there. Very, very nicely done. I'll also start firing over here. Sure, that commander's in a whole lot of trouble. Persecutor going to be more than happy to fire away at that commander here. Also, this T1 riffraff is going to get melted away. Lightning turrets and Persecutors. Boy, oh boy. Wow, the power of the lightning turret. Absolutely wild. Who knew? Elmer Fudd has a fabulous unit group over here. We have Recluses out. Was there a console? Oh no, we just have a full-blown T2 lab. The console, for anybody who wasn't aware, has been updated now. It no longer builds the Recluse either, so we've lost basically all forward firepower. It now builds the Weber and the Sprinter, and those are the only two units you can pop out of that bad boy. Well, I think you can still produce some of the other amphibious units and whatnot as well, but yeah, Recluse has been removed. It's just Webers now. Nice pick right there on that commander. This is looking like a valiant hold right now for our hot pink player. He does have a couple of these Resbots out. They're not shooting at the Resbots, they're shooting at the ticks. However, oh, maybe I'm wrong about that. I guess they do have enough vision. Probably this radar over here granting a little bit of vision of that commander. Yeah, that's going to be quite nice here. Console running forward. Both players fighting over that little wreckage field. That Console's going to get the most of it. D-gun will prevent it, though. Nicely done by Ural right there. And now we have a forward front line that is ravaging everything that gets a little too close here. These Persecutors do outrange those Mausers, so at the very least it'll keep some of those back. Oh, the LRPC, though, firing from downtown, firing all the way across the map to try and shoot at some of these Persecutors. It doesn't fire fast enough to kill these, I believe. I think there's just too much build power, and there's not enough to put out over here. But man, we are starting to get to those numbers, right? We've got a couple of these Basilica coming up on top of this hill. What a wonky hold from Chisato, but we'll see how effective it can be. There we go. Firing into the backline over here, trying desperately too, anyways. GG Gaming's commander. Wow. You know, I was going to say going down, but Paralyzers right there, the Shurikens, as well as some... Oh, maybe it was just the spy bots. I thought Shurikens were helping out as well. I guess it was just the spy bots shutting down that entire composition. Commander eventually goes down, but it got way more value than I think any of the players here for the blue team really could have imagined. Justice for Cub, still on, or for Club rather, still on T1. Going into T2 economy though, so at the very least there's that. It's about time for T2 though, I think. And yeah, we're getting to that point where the T1 army just can't keep up with the T2 anymore. Little fiends trying to blast their way up this hill. Not the end of the world. They will go down here eventually. Basilica trying to fire away. They do get the T2 lab over here, which is quite nice. Oh, and some of those advanced solar panels going down to one shot as well. Easy to underestimate those cannons, but they really can do quite a lot of damage when they fire away at full range. Persecutor trying to fire away, do the best that it can. What a beautiful little fortified defense. I just want a screenshot of that. Look at how epic that is. 3 Persecutors pointing their snozzles skyward. Tons and tons of lightning towers every which way. Nobody is going to be able to break through this defense. That is beautiful right there. Super well porked. Ambassadors are absolutely the right solution here. You can see that they can get the closest, reach out and hit pretty hard, but even they don't manage to kill these covered little lightning turrets. Man, what a brutal, brutal unit. does about 26% damage for every one of these rockets, so we need to fire 4 of them in synchrony. If we don't fire all of them at the same time, I think you're just never going to break through this. Yeah. No chance. They're too resistant. They're impervious to all but the strongest of penetrations. Wow, the lightning turrets for the hold right there. Pro High Gain desperately needs to focus his fire here. If he gets it all under control, I think there's probably a good chance that he could finally break all this with those ambassadors. But right now, it doesn't look like that's the case. Pyrotech over here. I wonder if he was trying to degun some of this. Maybe get right up on this hill and try and degun one of these cannons right there. Could be the case. That'd be a pretty cool snipe right there if he was able to do that. Interestingly, the red player has also been booted off the game. So no longer is X Factor Live or GG Gaming playing in the game anymore. They've handed all their stuff over, but they haven't joined the spectator list. So I'm not sure exactly what happens there. I wonder if this is maybe just a UI glitch or something like that. But either way, the blue team is now a couple players up, as far as I'm concerned. Tactical missile over here. That's quite nice. Yeah, that's a good teamwork right there. Using the build power to funnel out the tactical missile launcher. This is going to be great for bombarding anything around in this area. Pitbull's blasting away at the T1 here. I don't like the Pitbull. I think it undercuts itself quite harshly by not having any sort of heat seeking. I mean, it can't. It's just a Gauss weapon. But compared to the Scorpion, it's definitely the inferior matchup. No, I'm not saying that they need to nerf it or anything, but I'm just saying be aware. If you're a Cortex player and you try out Armada and you find that the Pitbull is, or rather you want to build some Pitbulls for some base defense, just be aware that it's not nearly as good as your beloved Scorpion turret. It's going to take a lot more convincing to make Pitbulls a real powerful force. Man, these LRPCs have just been brutal, though. Everything around here has just been melted away right now. You can see MDXD forced to retreat with this T2 constructor. He's got a single construction turret over here with 42 HP to its name. Man, these turrets, I would say these have definitely gotten their value out here. 13,500 metal. Well, maybe. I don't know. Oh, a nice spybot connection right here in the middle of the map. Going to be a whole bunch of fiends jumping on top of all of these Mauser here. Lightning tanks here to save the day. Is there enough, though? More or less. Would have loved to see these self-destructed. Get a whole lot more value out of your fiends if you self-destruct them. Not going to be the case, but it won't really matter, as most of these Mauser do go down in the end. The fire breath coming out of those little assault bots in orange pumped out to the back line here. Significant economy. A lot of it went into building a nuclear chamber. 7,700 metal goes into a nuclear ICBM launcher here for our orange player. Not enough energy to power it. It's tough. Oh, these are not. I thought these were pop-up turrets. I figured these were pop-up turrets and so would probably be a sturdy enough defense. But it is not the case. Those are just regular walls. And it looks like immediately Amir realized, oh, that's not as well defended as it looked at all. And decides to send the units right on through. Fiends now burning their way across the Tan player's base. He desperately throws up a T2 lab right now. He has tons of metal, so he can certainly produce some units. I think Sumos might be a good option. Hard to go wrong with Fiends, though. Fiends trade just about evenly against themselves. It's not really, 1+1 kind of a situation. It just equals out. Sumos tend to trade a whole lot better, but they're slower moving, harder to get into position, right? So obviously the Fiends much better at running around and getting a better trade out eventually. Yeah, all this will be mostly cleaned up. It's basically just a lot of T1. Those T2 metal extractors are the most sensitive thing to go down right there. Bunch of lightning tanks blasting away at the remains of the 3.5 metal extractor right here for the hot pink player. That's a bummer. That's a very, very powerful metal extractor to go down. And suddenly Ural finds himself with a full-blown surround knocking on his door. Whoa, those LRPCs hurt too. Oh, that's such a bummer. T2 lab gets sniped before it can even get finished, meaning no wreckage will be had. Commander desperately trying to degun down some of these lightning tanks here. These units being aggressive is allowing those those LRPCs to connect over here. So it's really, really nice that these Jaguars have gotten aggressive on the other side of the map. Gonna blast down some shurikens as well. That's what that little light anti-air is perfect for. Shield is up to protect some of this over here, but with not too much undercover, and especially not much flat ground undercover, it's gonna be hard to hold anything over here. Now, a sneaky little T3 transition. TX-55 has gone into full-blown T3, sorry. Jaguars in the back line. Having a rough time against that lightning tank. Lightning turret, rather. They actually don't kill it, okay. Those things have been the heroes of this game. Absolute heroes. This is looking bad for the... Oh, big old nuclear connection. Right as I said, this is looking bad. Massive nuclear connection in the back line of the blue team. Not to mention the Karganeth that are essentially unaddressed over here on the right-hand side. We do have a T3 lab coming up, so at the very least, we're making an effort. But yeah, there's really just not enough here. There's a Paralyzer that was up. Got to fire one missile before it went down. Not tremendously effective here. Stuns a couple of those Karganeth for a little while at the very least. But now there's one in the back line. And this is going to hurt. We need to pop the build power here first and foremost. Should certainly be first order of business here. Fusion reactor, not a bad target after that. Shuriken going to struggle to paralyze this thing. It does have those anti-air missiles. And down goes the fusion reactor. That is quite nice. A little bit of a weird base trade right now. We have the purple player cutting through. Let me just give a overview position. Purple player cutting across the map in this direction, using those lightning tanks to great effect. We have the pink player cutting across in this direction. And then we have the northern front being pushed directly in this, well, direction here. This is a weird one. This is a bit of an unconventional map. And I don't know if I've ever seen a split quite like that. Lightning tank's now going to find a whole bunch of energy converters popping themselves. That's unfortunate. Pretty good against these Shuriken. Shuriken kind of a band-aid, but the lightning tank kind of gets around it. Nice split right there. Microing back a lot of these tanks. Only need to leave one. There's no defenses over here or anything, so no use wasting a whole bunch of these tanks. We lost more than we needed to right there, but still not the end of the world. Medium tanks desperately need to get down here and start helping tear all this apart, because already these Karganeth are brutally assaulting the back door here for the blue team. Advanced fusion reactor coming up right now for Lost Dead Man, trying to get a whole bunch of shurikens together to paralyze these Karganeth in one big ball. Very difficult to do though, and if you group them up, the Karganeth will blast them apart with a single missile, and you can lose all of your shuriken in a single wave. Decides to pull the trigger here, has 23, 5, 10, 0. They don't manage to get it. They slowed one of them down, so that's quite nice. At the very least, maybe going to paralyze one of these Karganeths here. It's tough. With the EMP rework, it makes it very, very difficult for these units to actually EMP anything completely. They can slow them down very, very far, but they can't really, completely EMP things. At least not as effectively. No answer for those Karganeth right now. Lightning tanks have been recalled. Well, one of them is still on the other side of the map, causing issues. Does go down eventually, though. These lightning tanks desperately need to get engaged over here. We need to see these start to break this line. There's a bunch of Mauser working on that shield here. Is it enough to shut it down? Yeah, it looks like more or less it will be. Lightning tanks are giving the go-ahead to push on in there, but this is really where the game is being told. All these Karganeth firing away at the economy here for the blue player. He's trying to retreat one T2 constructor, but I don't think it's going to be able to escape here. Well, maybe. By the skin of its teeth, it barely manages to squeeze past those Karganeth. Just barely out of their vision range right there. They have more important things to do anyway, though, as they start marching all the way across the map. Chisato going to move a commander, and you gotta be so careful. Those Karganeth do have that anti-air missile, and they will surely shoot down a transport right here. Nicely done. There was a little bit of teamwork. Emir transporting Chisato's commander. Very, very cool. You'll love to see it. Somebody's got to put an end to these Karganeth. They've already swept through the entire right-hand side. Nicely done by Chisato rebuilding here on this side. Commander trying to juke and jive. Those missiles have heat-seeking, though, so it's not like it's going to be able to do all too much here. Very tricky. Very tricky to deal with. Elmer Fudd now overwhelmed. Looks like the lightning tanks couldn't do it. Yeah, they pushed forward, but it was not in, it was in vain, I should say. Now, Fudd finding himself with his back up against the wall. Spybot headed up over here. A little detection circle provided by the countermeasure system, intrusion countermeasure system. Well, okay. Paralyzed the advanced geo over here, so that's quite nice. Paralyzed the anti-nuke over there. That's a little bit nicer. And indeed, there it is. The nuke is fired. right on top of this base. Oh, okay. The anti-nuke will be able to open its lid. Oh, it fired though? How does this interact with the EMP? It's gonna fire really slow. Oh, does this work or not? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, it does not work. Still EMP'd. Massive nuke right there. Wipes out the entire hillside of Chisato, bringing him down to just the lab down south here. Oh, that is beautiful. Massive nuclear connection right there. Frees up the entire middle of the map here for the red team in order to continue marching forward. How are they not wiped out of this game here? Resbot's working on patching all this economy back up in the back. And if all this T2 comes back up online, you know what? Not really that much damage has been done. Metal extractors over here have been retaken, so that's quite nice. We have a bunch of ticks jumping on top of Shiva here. It's weird, but the tick does counter the Shiva. Shiva more than happy to fire at its own toes. And yeah, you just get those ticks nice and underneath them, and the Shiva will be firing away at themselves more than anything else. It's a brutal kind of way to counter a unit, right? Convince it to shoot itself. All these going to be handed over to Lost Dead Man. In fact, it will be everything from Chisato here handed over to Lost Dead Man. Nice anti-air over here. Oh, not going to matter though, as the bombs do connect with the advanced geo and still pop everything. The flak was up, the light anti-air was up, but it just wasn't enough. Karganath now pushing their way across this northern side, but these fiends are streaming out from deep into the backline, so these poor Kargis have to walk a real long time. Those poor Crabules. They've got quite a trip to make in order to get into the backline here. They do fine against the fiend here, as you can see, blasting those apart, but they're a little unfocused right now. Yeah, they're not really watching where they're going. All the way across the map. The aggression is sort of stopped on the lower side. I would love to see some more Karganaths. No reason why we should have shut down that production. Those were extremely effective up on this hillside over here. This is buying precious seconds for Lost Dead Man to try and get this whole situation back up and running here. We've got a fusion reactor that we can resurrect. There's also an anti-nuke over here that we can get back up and running, as well as some T2 metal extractors. The potential is still there, but it's going to be a hard fight here for the blue team to get back into it. Bombers coming around for a pass, looking for a target. Okay, gonna finish off this T3 lab. They figure it's better to shut that down than try and let the blue player here continue going on living. Looks like they were trying to target the fusion reactors here for our purple player, Elmer Foot. Not much effectiveness over there, though. Meanwhile, Karganath is continuing to assault this front. We do see quite a few of them have gone down already. Resbot's trying desperately to put them back on their feet, but in the hands of the tan player. T2 lab lingering. Karganath's getting in the way of each other, actually. Need to kill the build power. There we go. Finally, the build power reacts, and all of this will go down eventually here. Karganath's in the back line, and there's no commander to degun any of this down, so I think these Karganaths will have what it takes in order to blast all of this away. Pyrotech letting his team know that he has just popped, but the sound of the thermonuclear explosion has probably told them all that they need to. About the state currently of those blue crabs making their way across the map. Anti-nuke was available over here. I do see a cheeky spy bot, by the way. Maybe thinking about going to try and pop this little anti-nuke here, hit it with a douse of electromagnetic pulse. See if there's any way to sneak a nuke on into the back line over there. Emir with a massive front line. See these metal extractors, 14 metal apiece for these 3.5s. Very, very nice. T2 bombers looking for an opening. Wow. So exactly the same push that we saw working on the on the southern side, we now see working on the northern side here. Fusion reactors, a liable target. There's also the nuclear chamber. That chain reacts as well here, so rather it just explodes quite catastrophically when it dies here, so also a pretty good target. T2 lab goes down. Build power in trouble. Solar panels in trouble. T1 lab in trouble. They didn't find the economy over here for the orange player, so at least for the very time being, Row is going to be spared any further assault over there. But it's a bit of a tricky situation. There's no units over here, so the spybot does have the potential to sneak on by. Doesn't know what's up here. Maybe it does. No, it doesn't know what's up here until just now. There it goes. It sees the anti-nuke. It's uncloaked. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, very nice. Very keen eye. Uh-oh. He doesn't have enough build power here to shut this down. Oh no. Ro, what are you doing? Well, now, obviously, yeah, gonna be very skeptical about spy bots lurking in the very corners of the map here. Oh, it does indeed appear that that is the very last column for the blue team here. It's gonna be Lost Deadman's. Handing over the wind turbine so that Lost Deadman can stay cloaked here. Not a bad idea. Where's that commander's energy being spent? Oh, we're resurrecting over here, okay. Resurrecting, reclaiming, all that sort of stuff. Shiva and Karganeth pushing through, trying to make sense of all of this nonsense here. Spybot is well in the back line, though. Uh-oh. Now, the nuke was devastated over here. And indeed, the wreckage has been disposed of. Another one is coming up promptly. Ro has the play ready, right? He wants to EMB this, and then he wants to nuke it. I just don't know if there's enough time. Shiva have already ravaged the backline here for the blue team. Now, the blue player, Lost Deadman, is clawing themselves back into this match here. You can see these res bots desperately spending all the energy that they can. Constructors also, likewise, trying to put up as many of these solar panels as possible. Somebody desperately trying to find some energy here. There's a T2 constructor over here. Oh, and just in time, the fusion reactor does start up. I was just wondering about that. I thought that would be a pretty good idea. Try and get some T2 economy up and running. Update from a high level. Karganets from the blue player have swept across in this direction. The Karganets from the pink player have swept across in this direction. It's a full-blown yin-yang right now. Wondering who's going to be on top by the end of this. There goes the majority of the base here for the maroon player. All being swept away by a bunch of those wall crawlers. Creepy crawly Karganeths. Making their way across the map. Shiva and Karganeth over here likewise, though. Blasting apart whatever they can. Pulsar's here. Pretty good option for dealing with a lot of these units. As you can see them blasting off huge chunks of the armor here for the pink Shivas walking around over here. I think this will be dealt with. Nicely done. Now it's time for the tick spam. There's a Razorback out. Razorback's pretty epic at shutting down tick spams. Kind of great at it. They do an excellent amount of damage. They can fire rather rapidly. Very, very perfect unit for doing that sort of thing. Looks like all these units right here did go down and have been reclaimed by the hot pink player. Ural making the very best of a very bad situation here. A bunch of pitbulls lining the walls over here. It's quite funny. They are blasting away whenever they can. Doing their very best. Those Karganeth are pretty tough, though. Not sure how well that's going to go. Nuke is up. Not charged, though. Takes about 2 minutes for that nuke to charge, so even if you get it built, it's still going to be an if, and, or but if you can manage to squeeze it on into the enemy's base. It's a pretty tricky one. I could not tell you who's going to win this one. We are 32 minutes into this game, and both teams are neck and neck with only about 350 or so metal per second. What an absolute back and forth. Even a Weber built over here. Very nicely done. Leading the charge. Says, follow me, everyone. The hero Weber. Oh, and down he goes. Not even a corpse, just a wreckage pile. What a bummer. I do love those little Webers. They are quite adorable. And this base has been ruined. Flip TX-55 without his T2 production plant at this point. T2 aerial production plant. At this point, things are looking a little bit better for the blue team, coming in at around 400 metal per second, where the red is only lingering around 300. Mostly this little fort right in the middle of the map that's going to determine the winner of this match. Loads of Razorbacks out right now, and I wonder if this isn't enough to push in here. Those Pulsars specifically going to be very effective because they can penetrate these shields, right? So as soon as the Razorbacks step forward and all these lightning turrets pop up, those Pulsars are going to be perfect for blasting everything down. It's only a matter of pulling the trigger here. It's going to be up to Elmer Fudd to do so. Right now, it doesn't really have the incentive. looks like... Oh, the spy bot is still over here. Gives me such anxiety looking at that, but it's still possible. We only need to hit the anti-nuke right here. Just gotta timing it correctly. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna see it. Roe did manage to get another nuke charged up and ready. And there it is. Tricky situation. You gotta fire the nuke and then move the spy bot into EMP. And then you gotta send the, well, you gotta time it so the nuke launches almost exactly when you, you have to start firing the nuke and then EMP, basically. Okay, anti-nuke is EMP'd. Oh, it was a little slow. I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be a close one. EMP'd for 3 more seconds. The last one didn't work. Oh, there was another anti-nuke. Oh no. How depressing. There was another anti-nuke right over here. That is brutal. Going to be able to shoot down the nuke here. I tell you what, the blue team right now is counting their absolutely luckiest stars, thinking whatever resides above them. Up in the great clouds of Valhalla that all robots wish to reside in, they are thanking their lucky stars that that nuke did not connect right now. Cargonet's going to finish off the remainder of Roe's base over here. My goodness. This came down to the absolute wire. EMP damn near just won the game, back over to the red team's favor. Now this is still a very brutal hold right here. I mean, we have a T3 lab, we have full-blown T2 production. We have the shield as well, not that the long-range plasma cannons are going to be any problem. There goes those pulsars, though. Looks like they didn't quite move in correctly. Sharpshooters also blasting a lot of this away. Getting extreme value. You can see the ranks on these guys are quite high. Some of them silver bars already. Very, very powerful stuff. Pulsar even. Blasting away. Where was that bad boy? Can't even find it. What a mess. There it is, right in front of me. This is gonna be cheeky. Oh, and it looks like the red team taps out. Okay, well, you know what? I almost would have liked to see the blue team try and break this. Economies were damn near even. I mean, pretty impressively even for this late into the game. The blue team with just enough of a hold on this hill. If that little push up here, if that nuke up there had managed to connect, I think this would have been an easy win right there for the red team. Wow. That came absolutely down to the wire. Might be the game of the year right there. That was phenomenal. Game of the month for sure. Phew. Let me know what you thought about it down below in the comment section, obviously. I love to hear from you guys. I do read all those. I don't get to answer as many comments just because there are so many of you. Suffering from success, I suppose. But I'm always thrilled to read through them at the very least, and I like and comment and do whatever I can. Sure hope you enjoyed today, though, and I will see you again in the very next Beyond All Reason video. Peace out, folks.